One of the biggest myths in business is that you need to be physically present to be productive. For years, bookkeepers drove to client offices because that's just how it was done. But today, many successful bookkeeping businesses operate entirely remotely. And that changes everything, because when you stop driving to clients, you don't just save money, you get your time back. Now, when I started my bookkeeping business back in 2014, QuickBooks Online was still relatively new. Some business owners felt like their bookkeeper needed to be sitting right down the hall, but a lot has changed since then. Today, most business owners don't care where their bookkeeper is located. They care whether the books are accurate, reports are delivered on time, and their questions get answered. In most cases, clients care far more about accurate books and timely communication than how close you are to their office. And that's one of the biggest advantages of a remote bookkeeping business. But the benefits go far beyond convenience. If you were providing bookkeeping services the traditional way and visiting clients in person, let's say you drove an average of 50 miles a day. That's 250 miles a week. At roughly 20 miles per gallon, that's about 13 gallons of gas every week. Depending on where you live, that's easily $55 to $60 a week in fuel costs. Over the course of a year, that's roughly $3,000 simply driving from office to office. And that's before you factor in oil changes, tire maintenance, repairs, tolls, parking, and the wear and tear that comes from putting thousands of extra miles on your vehicle. But honestly, the money you save by being remote isn't the biggest benefit. The biggest benefit is the time. If you spend just 1 hour a day commuting to and from your client locations, that's 5 hours a week. Over the course of a year, that's approximately 260 hours, more than 6 full work weeks. That's a month and a half of your life every single year spent sitting in a car. Think about that for a moment. What would you do with an extra 6 weeks every year? Spend more time with your family, travel more, take on additional clients, or simply work less? That's time you get back by eliminating the commute. And then there's the scheduling. You set an appointment, drive across town, you arrive on time, and the owner is tied up in another meeting, or dealing with an employee issue, or forgot you were coming. Now you're sitting there waiting. When you're remote, none of that matters. You log in, you do the work, you log out, simple. Another advantage is that you're no longer limited by geography. If you had to visit every client in person, you'd most likely be limited to businesses within 25 or 50 miles of where you live. But with a remote bookkeeping business, your clients can be anywhere. Florida, Pennsylvania, Texas, California, it doesn't matter. You can focus on finding the best clients rather than the closest ones. There are also some smaller benefits that people don't think about. When you're visiting clients regularly, you want to look professional. Business casual clothes, dress shoes, dry cleaning, making sure you're presentable every day. When you work remotely, that's a lot less important. And speaking of driving, if you live in the South as I do, you have to deal with I-95. Traffic accidents, road construction, summer thunderstorms. One unexpected delay can throw your entire day off schedule. When you're remote, you're already where you need to be. But my favorite benefit might be something most people never think about: focus. When you're sitting in a client's office, people stop by, the phone rings, employees ask questions, someone wants to chat. There are constant interruptions. When you're working remotely, you control your environment. And when you can control your environment, you can often get more work done in a lot less time. That's one more reason a remote bookkeeping business can offer a level of freedom that many traditional businesses simply can't. And once you've experienced running a business without a daily commute, it's very hard to imagine going back. If you've ever thought about starting a bookkeeping business but worried that the market might be saturated, you're going to want to watch the next episode. I'm going to show you why there are more potential clients out there than any one bookkeeper could ever serve. So stay tuned for that.